revolutionary youth. Mr. Brewster up there has to be educated when he said the other day that this isn't Woodstock. We will not let them separate our culture from our politics. We are a people. We are all together. We are all under attack. America has decided to devour its youth. We will resist. We will not participate in America's Children for Breakfast program. Fuck 'em. We have come here because we learned from our trial wasn't liberal senators. Give $1,000 for anybody who can name a liberal senator. Clean for Gene, George McGovern, Teddy with a bridge, all those fuckers. $1,000 to anyone that protested the obscenity and the way Julius Hoffman spit in the face of the Constitution in our trial. Not one of them did. We're free because 500,000 brothers and sisters went to the only courts we have left in this country, the courts in the streets, and said that they were on trial, they were defendants, they were part of the conspiracy. That's why we've come to New Haven to free Bobby. We have come here because we learned from our trial wasn't liberal senators. Give $1,000 for anybody who can name a liberal senator. Clean for Gene, George McGovern, Teddy with a bridge, all those fuckers. $1,000 to anyone that protested the obscenity and the way Julius Hoffman spit in the face of the Constitution in our trial. Not one of them did. We're free because 500,000 brothers and sisters went to the only courts we have left in this country, the courts in the streets, and said that they were on trial, they were defendants, they were part of the conspiracy. That's why we've come to New Haven to free Bobby.
I warned that if I concluded that increased enemy activity in any of these areas endangered the lives of Americans remaining in Vietnam, I would not hesitate to take strong and effective measures to deal with that situation. Despite that warning, North Vietnam has increased its military aggression in all these areas, and particularly in Cambodia. After full consultation with the National Security Council, Ambassador Bunker, General Abrams, and my other advisors, I have concluded that the actions of the enemy in the last 10 days clearly endanger the lives of Americans who are in Vietnam now, and would constitute an unacceptable risk to those who will be there after withdrawal of another 150,000. To protect our men who are in Vietnam and to guarantee the continued success of our withdrawal and Vietnamization programs, I have concluded that the time has come for action.
At a time when Nixon has been talking about some secret plan for ending the war, some plan that's so secret that nobody knows what it is, he announces now that thousands of American troops have invaded Cambodia. The Civil War in Vietnam ended in 1965, and it can't be put together again. And that's why Vietnamization will not work. Because Vietnamization failed, they've widened the war, they've extended it to all of Indochina. And we've got to respond to that, because there can be no separation between vamping on the internal colony and vamping on the external colony.
Said deep, deep, said down, down, said deep down in our hearts. Said deep, deep, said down, down, said deep down in our hearts. We love the Black Panther Party. We love the Black Panther Party. Said deep, deep, I said down, down, I said deep down in our hearts. Said deep, deep, I said down, down, I said deep down in our hearts. Said deep, deep, I said down, down, I said deep down in our hearts. Said deep, deep, said down, down, said deep down in our hearts. We love the Black Panther Party. We love the Black Panther Party. Said deep, deep, I said down, down, I said deep down in our hearts. Said deep, deep, I said down, down, I said deep down in our hearts.
If any other attempts are made to move against the Black Panther Party, then that will be an act against all of the people that's participating in this demonstration.
Right on!
Right on! So that this means that we will have to move beyond the symbolistic attitude of marches and chants and shouts of all power to the people. It will mean making our power to the people a reality by repelling the regressive or the aggression that's being meted out against those that are truly in the defense of freedom and justice in this country. All power to the people.
This weekend we will have about 35,000 people in New Haven, and I've got a problem. I've got to find space for them to stay. I want all of you to help us in trying to find space for all the people in your colleges, in your rooms, and off campus.
We will feed everyone who comes into town for May Day demonstration. There will mainly be 2 meals. The first one will be served from about 10 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon, and it'll be a familia. If you aren't familiar with the familia, you're in for a treat. The second meal will be brown rice, rice and vegetable salad, whole wheat bread, coffee, punch, and tea.
So, members of the Yale community do not feel they can turn their back on the rally and its participants, many of whom share these concerns. I would simply emphasize, as others have, that this is no picnic, this is no Woodstock. There was always a possibility of violence.
Hey buddy, take my right side.
And Yale's alleged indifference to the black community.
I will say that it is another time that on a large scale blacks and whites have gotten together from across the country to express a common desire to improve the conditions in which we live and to rule out our hatred and to view each other as human beings in a total attempt to really change society. Whether this is done in a violent fashion in the future will depend on how America responds to the present cries of the young people in this country.
Stay off the green! The Panthers have requested that people stay off the green! Please stay off the green!
Listen, you guys, please go back to the campus. The last thing that we want right now is any kind of violence. We do nothing but help Bobby.
We've been waiting too long.
Listen.
Ain't no violence.
Everybody please follow the truck to South State. We're going to have a community meeting inside the Qual Quad. We're going to have a community meeting. Please follow the truck. Please follow the truck.
As Jose Marti, the Cuban revolutionary, said, the best way of telling is doing. This does not mean arbitrary confrontation, rampages through the streets and knocking down old women. We can't be anarchistic and emotional. We have to be clear-headed and organized. An example of this type of clear-headedness is the fact that Yale students cut their hair and took time to go into the white middle-class communities to rally support for this trial and for the cause of justice in the United States. Breaking windows and snatching pocketbooks will never lay a foundation for a long, hard struggle ahead. Politicizing and educating the various segments of the young, the open-minded, and concerned will. It is not the party's place to tell supporters what to do or what to say, but our duty is to tell all of you about what is necessary for survival in America. I think we're going to find out that as America intensifies its aggression abroad, as it has done in Cambodia, and as it has done in the Middle East, and as it will probably be doing both in Africa and Latin America, you will see it's intensifying its intimidation to stop the second front that's opening up here in America. That you will see that every time people begin to take to the streets to protest injustice, to protest racism and capitalism, you will see now that they don't even allow the local police departments to come out, that they immediately call in the National Guard, that they immediately call out the paratroopers and Marines to come out on call. And we see this as being ridiculous because these people who have taken to the streets, obviously the majority of these people are white. So what you see here in America happening is that they're beginning to call out the National Guard on their very same people that they're supposed to be protecting. They're calling out the National Guard to protect the rights, to protect the so-called rights that the people have in this country.
And now we have another category, black Americans and brown Americans, who no longer are satisfied with being part of the colony and being part of the oppressed. And if you read Fanon's Wretched of the Earth, he points out the role that the oppressed has to carry on as against the oppressor or the mother country. The mother country, with its man-made laws, has harassed and brutalized and kept in dire poverty, day in and day out, men and women of the colony. And when they fight back in self-defense of the armed aggression, the brutal aggression, then they are arrested. They themselves are no longer political prisoners. They are prisoners of war and should be classified in the dignity of a prisoner of war and not be treated like they were wild animals. The courtrooms have been used and are being used to continue the oppression. As long as 1 person out of 7 goes to bed hungry in America every single night, all of the king's horses and all the king's men are not going to be able to solve it by putting men and women in jail. Jails are not the answer. The courtrooms, with their stage of siege and their police state tactics, are not the answer. Now, these are strong words. These are strong positions to take. But the facts speak for themselves. Now, you might ask, why do I continue practicing law when I have so little confidence and so much distaste for what we call a fair trial or American justice? I do it because as long as my clients are being captivated and held in captivity, it is my duty and my responsibility to see that I can get them out of prisons and out of the clutches of the law so that they can get out in their communities and do the work that has to be done. On the question of a fair trial, there's no such thing as a fair trial. Sure, the fair trial monologue has been created by the judges and the lawyers themselves. It's a kind of an ego trip on their part that they say that we can give a particular defendant a fair trial. Well, that's just a lot of hokum. What really happens is that the great arm of the state or the government is pitted against the individual, and an individual that does not have the funds or wherewithal to be able to defend themselves. The jury is constantly being brainwashed through the media to a point where there's no such thing as a juror of one's peer. We have what we call compromise justice. We have what we call plea bargaining, where men and women are daily railroaded into prison or forced to take a lesser sentence and give up the right of their ability to be able to defend themselves. And the prisons today are being filled constantly with men and women who we consider political prisoners, men who have violated no law except the man-made law, men and women who hold the conscience of the community much higher than the man-made law. Under the judgment of Nuremberg, every single citizen has a duty and a responsibility to ignore the man-made law of a particular state and apply the human law, the human superior law, to see that the rights of man, humanity, is protected. And this goes on daily.
Clear the way, please. Clear the way, please. Clear the way. Move back, please.
Careful, don't push.
Could you move back, please?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Move back.
How do you feel, Bobby?
Could you move back?
How do you feel, Bobby?
Move back. Move back, please.
Come away from me. Careful, careful, careful.
Connecticut est l'État qui a conservé la chaise électrique pour assassiner Bobby Seale.
The state of Connecticut is the one state that has kept the electric chair to assassinate Bobby Seale.
Le procès qui va être fait sera un procès contre des hommes, sera un procès politique.
The trial that is going to take place will be a trial, a political trial.
Down in New York last night, we got a call from our national headquarters, and the pigs had surrounded it. And of course, we see them preparing for another attack.
So that this means that we will have to move beyond the symbolistic attitude of marches and chants and shouts of all power to the people. It will mean making our power to the people a reality by repelling the regressive or the aggression that's being meted out against those that are truly in the defense of freedom and justice in this country. All power to the people.
And in Baltimore, they moved to establish another conspiracy and murder. They went into our office, they arrested our chief organizer, 3 other Panthers, 6 ex-Panthers, and they now have warrants out for 20 other people. Now the charges are that a Panther was murdered and tortured back in July. So having these warrants gives the pigs the right to go across this country and kick down the doors of our offices and of our homes, just as they did when they say they were looking for George Sams. So we see this as a move by the pigs to totally annihilate the leadership and the entire Black Panther Party.
Now, we came here today to destroy one concept, and that's the concept of the Conspiracy 7. And a lot of the press out there have been calling us the Conspiracy 7 for a long time, and they got to stop that right now. We're the Conspiracy 8. Conspiracy 8. And just because that racist anal judge, Julius Hoffman, cut Bobby Seale and put him in jail for 4 years for standing up to demand his constitutional rights doesn't mean that Bobby Seale is not part of this conspiracy. And everybody in this room is part of the conspiracy. Part of the conspiracy. Part of the conspiracy to end the trial over there and to free every black person and every person in every jail in this country.
Now, secondly, on a day when the government should be announcing that it is dropping all charges, instead it has announced the beginning of a second similar case. Now, we simply cannot allow them to get away with this. They have been utterly provocative. They have set up a trap in which they are prepared to attack here, and we are not going to walk into that trap. Today is the beginning of a series of episodes in New Haven which will continue until Bobby Seale and the others are free.
Man for the conspiracy in the past couple of weeks. Well, we're here today because all 8 cannot be here today. And what I want to say is that we will continue to come back to New Haven over and over again until all 8 are freed.
We will be back with 250,000, 500,000, or 1 million people to New Haven to see that the prisoners here, the prisoners of war, are liberated by any means necessary.
It's about a revolutionary named Lonnie McLucas, who is a Black Panther. Lonnie McLucas was a Black Panther, but the pigs arrested and threw him into jail. And now his trial is going on. Pigs don't like Lonnie, and they want to send him to the electric chair. The name of this revolutionary puppet show is called The Child, the Man, the Revolutionary, the Panther. Oink, 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 oink. Oink, 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 oink. Oink, 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 oink. Oink. Oh. Well, I just got orders from Mr. Hoover in Washington. Mr. Hoover said, out there, y'all, Mr. Hoover said that them New Haven Panthers, that they's a menace. Oink, 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 oink. And that you, Mr. Piggy, you gotta stop them New Haven Panthers. Dig it? Now, here's our plan. We are not going to allow the New Haven Panthers to have breakfast programs. Nope, nope, nope. We are not, oink, 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 oink. We are not going to allow the New Haven Panthers to have a free clothing program. Nope. Nope. Oink, 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 oink. We are not going to allow the New Haven Panthers to have a free medical clinic. Oink, 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 oink. We are not going to allow the New Haven Panthers to be in this city. Oink, 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 oink. So, here's what we are going to do. I want you to get in touch with Crazy George. Oink, 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 oink. And I want you to have him to get rid of Lonnie McLucas. Oink, 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 oink. And that's exactly what the judge and Hoover and Ahern and all the pig chiefs of New Haven did. You know, they think that I'm smooth, that I'm clean. Well, the pigs dig me, y'all. They really dig me. Yeah, they dig me. Mm-hmm. See my dashiki here? That I'm cool. You know something? The Panthers, they's real scared of me. Ooh, when I say jump, they jump. Boy, they just jump, jump, jump all over the place. You know what they call me? They call me Crazy George. Yeah, and they got this here smart panther, you see. Real smart panther. His name is Lonnie. I'm Crazy George. Yeah. Well, I got something on Lonnie. I got something on him. I gonna get something on Lonnie. Because Lonnie was a revolutionary, the pigs did all that they could to stop him from serving the people. So it's true. Crazy George did try to get something on Lonnie. Let's listen. They're gonna get Lonnie for a murder. But I did it, you see. I was the one who told him to do it. Now, they ain't gonna never catch me, y'all. Because I'm going to Canada. You dig it? Pigs are gonna make sure that I get to Canada. Right, Mr. Pig? Oink, 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 oink. And that's exactly what Crazy George did. After he ordered the Panthers to murder Alex Rackley, he told the Panthers that if they didn't do it, that he'd kill them too. And so Bonnie was then found by the pigs after he was on his way to California, and he was thrown into prison. And Crazy George got off to Canada, along with the pigs. All power to the people. I'm Lonnie, and I love all of you all out there. My clothes here, they was made by my sister Erica, Rose, and Peggy. I love all the people. I love all the children. When I say all power to the people, I expect you to say all power to the people too. So I'll say it again. All power to the people. Right on. The pigs put me into jail. They held me there for a long time. They trying to say that I killed my brother. and there's a jury, 12 people. 9 of them are white people, and 3 of them are black. And they're supposed to decide whether I go to the electric chair or not. But they're not the juries of my peers. You out there are the jury of my peers. How would you judge me?